When I first came to Canada about 15 years ago, I moved to a small town in the East Coast. Being the only few visual minority wasn't easy. I found hip-hop as a shelter for my discomfort and utilized it as an expression that withstands racial stereotypes. Looking back, lots of my earlier work revolves in the theme of racism, identity, and migration. This was something I became aware of, being in another country, from an ambiguous country. I was born in Taiwan, a place where it's still struggling for its identity as well. After playing with music and painting, I've encountered film, a medium that's most versatile and multidisciplinary for me at the time. Through Atlantic Film Co-op's film scholarship, I've made my first 16mm film. The theme is based on racism. In the film, all the characters' eyes are scratched off. The main character despises him throughout the film, until he realizes that his eyes are also missing. Soon after, I've made another film based on the theme of discrimination. The main character constantly gets bullied as she has messy hair, oversized clothes, and carries an art block case with her. Towards the end, we discover that the box actually contains beautiful photos which connect with her memories that we don't know about. It is more clear to me now that these films seek to voice the value that is deeply within each one of us, to look beyond our banal senses and transcend from the conventional social value. In my later film works, I intentionally wrote the characters with ambiguity in terms of its gender, race, cultural background, and social class, breaking the common rules of screenwriting in the hopes to challenge the viewers to think beyond stereotypes that is so prevalent in our film culture today, especially after the excruciating disaster of Hollywood cinema. These two films traverse in a dreamlike, trance-like, and surreal sense in spatial temporal logic. In my belief that if our dreams are able to relegate our reality, then why can't we filmmakers free ourselves from the language of cinema that may be restraining our creative vision? Are we merely slaves for our ideology? Or are we able to deconstruct our pre-existing identity? To push boundaries by integrating different elements, medium, and new methods together. These two films utilize digital video, analog film techniques, digital projection, interactive media, contemporary dance, theatrical mise-en-scène, and hand-drawn animation. This was my attempt to push the viewer's limit of what cinema is and what cinema could be. Around the same time, I've encountered new media arts and technology. I realized that we don't need to rely on traditional tools to make art anymore. We can make our own vehicles to convey our vision. I participated in numerous collaborations involving the use of new media technologies, so often that people wonder, what am I? A filmmaker? Musician? A computer programmer? To take the interdisciplinary and intercultural idea even further, in the ongoing collaboration project, Made in China, I even danced on stage with a dance master. In this project, we are exploring our personal memories, heritage, and migration through interdisciplinary collaborations, and challenge the viewers of their impression about China from the use of traditional practice in a more contemporary context. Although it is an ongoing experiment and explorations, I discovered a terrible and superficial review on Review Vancouver. It becomes a question that whether our spectators today still stem from a very conservative perspective on cultural representations, and that every ethnicity has already labeled with anticipation to represent the mainstream view of its culture. And as artists exposing ourselves on stage, are we able to escape from this cultural gaze that is forced upon us? Do we still need to ask ourselves if we are exotic enough or cultured enough for the audience? I naively believe that art is an universal language that is licensed to unfettered art ideologies from the mainstream consumerism and entertainment apparatus. On March 2014, I was visiting the land where I was born, Taiwan. Just when I was about to return to Canada, a very profound social movement has happened. They call it the Sunflower Movement. It started as a student movement occupying Taiwan's Parliament building, which exposed the fact that the government is forcing a major trade deal with China, and tremendous economic, cultural, and political issues may arise. For example, the citizens in China is able to immigrate to Taiwan, as well as making investments a lot easier. As an immigrant, Asian Canadian, and a global-minded artist, I didn't think it was an issue. But my skepticism with politics also led me to recognize the protest as a form of xenophobia and discrimination against the mainland Chinese. I was very ambivalent to support this occupation until I stopped watching the news and physically visited the site. It turns out to be as one of the most fascinating protests I've ever witnessed in my life. Ewan Rowan, one of the core members of the movement, as well as Burning Man's regional contact for Taiwan and China, compares with Burning Man and Occupy, and highly praises the Sunflower Movement. He describes the protest as a kind of avant-garde performance art. Almost everywhere within the occupation zone, you can find creative use of visual and performance arts for the protester to articulate and spread their messages. The students and activists were using artistic means to educate elected lawmakers as to their duties and obligations. By actually being inside the scene, I was able to perceive more factual information. Yet, being on the outside, the only ways to receive information was through media or social networks. The media distorts as an uncivilized riot and falsely reports the goal of the protest. As a result, Taiwanese citizens take extreme sides, which cause tremendous tension and discrimination against the different beliefs. To me, they were all victims under the control of media and politicians. I realized that it's human nature that we function inevitably by stereotypes and self-identity, something that potentially lead to larger issues such as xenophobia and racism. Yet, mainstream media are constantly stretching and worsening this condition. They often overly simplify, generalize, and exaggerate information, which lead the viewers from ignorance to prejudice on subjects that may need a deeper perspective. While I was touched by the students and activists, I know that something was missing. An alternative portal to connect everyone together, as well as to the rest of the world. I then decided to make a net art project called ihearyourvoice.com that utilized website as an alternative platform for people to voice themselves and to listen to each other. I have implemented experimental sound synthesizers and evocative wording to guide the participant to go deeper, to go inwards, to find their inner voice within, and to avoid superficial thoughts and aggressive comments. Once your voice gets sent out, someone somewhere in this world may receive and respond to your message. In the end, the participant leaves with a surprise image with their voice and the response. It becomes an image of an inner voice, conjuring with the positive spirit of the movement. I know that deep down there are always something universal within each one of us. The value of culture, civilization, justice, liberty, and great spirit. Yet often we are stuck on the surface level. Our look, our clothes, our skin color, our gender, our social class, our profit, as well as our views of politics, nationalism, and religion. I believe that art is the alternative door that can take us to a deeper realm and also connect us on a human-to-human level that we may have yet to experience. Looking back from my very first black and white experimental film to my latest new media art project, although the evolution of technology has made the forms and possibilities so prominently different, yet I realize the core of the art itself still resonates with each other and shares similar voices. Redefining identity, breaking boundary, inward introspection, and looking beyond the surface. My intuition guided me to interdisciplinary art and technology, Possibly because that interdisciplinary art disfigures identity, and that new media is a new vehicle that can take us to new places that can still elevate from the growth of mass media. We can then keep searching for doors that may lead us to a deeper place, to where our souls and spirits belong. Somewhere that shares universal values, somewhere that is transracial, transnational, and transcultural. And finally, we can smile, embrace our differences, and celebrate ambiguity.